You built something real for yourself, a business, a life, a family, a version of yourself that most men only dream about. And yet, somewhere between all of it, an unsettling feeling developed in you that you haven't been able to shake. And it's not failure, it's not weakness, it's something quieter and harder to name. It's the pressure that never fully lifts, the anxiety that follows you all through the weekend into Sunday morning, the feeling that no matter how much you accomplish, you can't quite get ahead of it. You sit in the car a few extra minutes before walking inside. You snap and then spend the rest of your night lying awake, hating yourself for it. You have more than most men will ever have, and it still doesn't feel like enough. And you don't fully understand why. That's not a character flaw. That's a gap in your knowingness, and it's one that I could help close. Here's what I've seen with the men that I work with and what I know from my own life as well. When the pressure builds, men do one of two things. Some lean in harder, more hustle, more achievement, work becomes identity, provide more, protect more, and push through more. And for a while, it works until the cost starts showing up in your body, your relationships, and the quiet moments when you're finally alone with yourself. Others start leaning out. The escapism, the distraction, the slow burnout that nobody ever talks about because from the outside, everything looks fine. Loss of purpose, quiet suffering behind a very convincing performance. Most men cycle between both, and the hidden cost of all of it, constant pressure, anxiety maintaining success, resentment and frustration that builds without a release valve, a reactive emotional state that costs you the relationships you love the most, and a life you built with your own hands that somehow started to feel like a prison. Does that sound familiar? My name is Joe Hehn. I'm an entrepreneur, father, and husband. I ride motorcycles, practice kung fu, and love the outdoors. And for over a decade, I've worked as a mindset and consciousness expert, leading workshops, speaking on stages, and privately working with execs, leaders, and teams across some of the most demanding industries in the world: tech, medicine, law, finance, and business owners who build empires and still couldn't find peace inside of them. I know this world because I've lived it. I was successful on the outside while quietly suffering on the inside. And then my wife got cancer, and I had to say goodbye to her. And that loss broke me open in a way like nothing else could have. Because you can outrun most things in life, you cannot outrun grief. You cannot perform your way through it. You cannot hustle beyond it. So for the first time, I had no choice but to go inward. And what I found in there changed everything, because I spent years after that devoted to understanding consciousness, how the mind works, how the nervous system responds, how our conditioning shapes every single experience we have. I explored neuroscience, psychology, quantum theory, and obsessed myself with the deepest spiritual wisdom traditions on earth. I traveled, I healed, I rebuilt my life, not from the outside in, but from the inside out. And what I discovered in this is that suffering you're carrying right now is not who you are. It's who you were conditioned to be, and that conditioning can be broken and transformed. That's why I created the Higher Perspective Roadmap. I help successful men escape constant pressure, anxiety, and loss of control so that they can step into competence and self-mastery, but without losing their edge or their success. Not by slowing down, not by becoming someone else, but by finally mastering what's happening on the inside so that everything on the outside can rise up to meet it. And when a man does this work, three things change permanently. Result number one, you master yourself. The first transformation happens within you. You finally understand why your mind generates constant pressure and anxiety, and more importantly, how to retrain it. You stop being at the mercy of your nervous system and start directing it. The volatility fades, the reactivity softens, you stop exploding and start responding. You move from surviving your days to actually inhabiting them with clarity, composure, and the kind of competence that doesn't need anything external to hold it up. Mentally, you're sharper, emotionally steadier, physically more aligned, and spiritually more grounded. Result number two, you show up differently at home. When a man masters himself, the people closest to him feel it immediately. Your presence becomes real, not just physically there, but actually there. The patience you've been white-knuckling becomes natural. The tension in the house softens. Your kids feel safe and comfortable around you in a completely new way, and your partner feels seen. Whether it's your role as a father, a husband, a son, or whatever, you step into it with intention and leadership. You become the steady, grounded, conscious force that your family didn't know they were missing and won't be able to imagine living without. And result number 3, you elevate professionally. This is where most men are happily surprised. When the internal noise quiets, the decisions get clear, the leadership gets sharper, the relationships you build professionally deepen because you're no longer managing people from a reactive, pressured state. You're leading from a grounded one. Wealth expands, opportunities sharpen into focus. Your edge doesn't disappear, it evolves. You don't just perform at a high level, you create from a high level. Through corporate engagements, speaking, private coaching, and group programs, I have worked with thousands upon thousands of men, executives, entrepreneurs, doctors, lawyers, business owners across almost every industry you can name. And what I can tell you is this: the pattern is always the same. The income level doesn't matter. The title doesn't matter. The industry, it doesn't matter. The suffering inside success is universal. And so is the way out. Hudson was a high-level exec, reactive, volatile, quietly burning out the relationships he loved the most. Within days of beginning this work, the pressure lifted. He became present, grounded, and calm. He's a better father, a stronger husband, and a more respected leader. And he kept winning. He just stopped paying such a heavy price for winning now. Rick rebuilt his entire business, found authentic love, got engaged, bought his dream lakefront property in Tennessee, and created a life that finally felt like his own. His words, intentional creation became my reality. Steve experienced an immediate perspective shift, reduced internal suffering, greater peace and clarity. He repaired his co-parenting relationship, found love, stepped into real confidence and self-trust, and his business expanded alongside all of that. These men didn't give up their ambition. They stopped letting it consume them. If what you've heard so far resonates, if some part of you recognizes itself in what I described, then I want to offer you something. A conversation, just you and me, and not a sales call, an alignment interview. My job on that call is to understand exactly where you are and extract what's really going on beneath the surface, which I am brilliant at doing. And then together we will map out direction and strategy and whether this is the right moment for you to take this step with me. Best case, we find deep alignment, begin a journey that changes your life from the inside out. Worst case, we find out it's not the right fit or the right time, and I send you away with clarity, direction, and some of the key resources I give my highest level clients as a gift for simply investing your time with me. There's nothing to lose, and there may be literally everything for you to gain. So go ahead and click the button below, fill out the short application, and if we're aligned, we'll get something on the calendar, and I'll see you on that call. I'm telling you, it will be extremely transformative no matter what. Now, if you're still watching, you're probably wondering what actually makes this different. And here's the truth: most men just never hear. The reason self-help hasn't worked, the reason motivation eventually fades away, and mindset content gives just temporary relief, and surface-level solutions just never seem to stick, is that none of them address the actual root of the problem, which is where change needs to happen. Your brain has a negative bias built into its architecture. It is literally wired to scan for threat, to protect, to anticipate the worst. That's not weakness. That's evolution. But it means that without specific, targeted training, your nervous system will keep running the same patterns no matter how many books you read or seminars you attend. And on top of that, most men were conditioned from childhood to provide, to perform, to protect, and push through the hard. That conditioning is stored in the body, the nervous system, and the subconscious mind. It runs automatically, and it will keep running until it's consciously interrupted, reprogrammed, and then replaced. And that's what the higher perspective roadmap is built to do for you. Through 4 pillars, understanding your consciousness, training it, creating through it, and ultimately mastering it, I walk you through a precise, structured, and deeply transformational process grounded in neuroscience, psychology, quantum theory, nervous system science, and the most profound spiritual wisdom traditions on earth. This is not information, it's integration. It's not motivation, it's a permanent rewiring. And the reason it works is because we go to the root, not the symptom. The man you're meant to be is not a distant future version of yourself. He's who you are when the noise stops, the conditioning clears, and you finally learn to master what's happening inside you. That's what this work does. That's what's available to you right now. Not a quick fix, a permanent shift in the way you experience being alive. Click the link below, fill out the short application, and book your call with me. You've built enough on the outside. It's time to build something on the inside that actually lasts. I will see you on our call.